Come on, baby.
Well, there we go.
That's it. All right, you got it.
All right. Hey. Good morning. Good morning. A blessed Thursday. Happy Thursday. Joyful Thursday to everybody. It's your Associate Minister here at Center for Spiritual Living, Palm Desert, Reverend Charles Holt. Grateful to be with you for another daily program. Great to be with you. I hope, know, pray, affirm that everybody's, wherever you're at right now, Center for Spiritual Living, Palm Desert, and friends all over the world, that you're experiencing some comfort, some joy, moments of real happiness with your families, with your friends, with everything that's happening. Jeff, I know you're having you're in a nice environment these days. How are you doing, my friend? Our Swing Point Media Master. It's good to see your face.
Hey, thank you. It's good to be on. I appreciate that. It looks like Charles is on his way, but yeah, it's we kind of got out of the desert for a little bit and enjoying a little cooler weather. So it's good to be seen. Thank you for having us.
Love it. Cool. Well, that's Jeff. He's the president, CEO of Swing Point Media. That's our master producer. He's our guy that makes everything work behind the scenes, and we're always grateful for him and Swing Point. So is Charles, did he make it on, or was there something else you wanted to share there with everybody?
No, he's here. I think he just needs to turn on his camera, and I'm going to ask him to unmute and then he'll be ready to go.
Then we're off and running.
Yeah, because I've got to get ready. I've got a surfboard back here, and I've got to get ready to go. There he is.
There you go.
Off now.
Okay. Have fun on the way. There he is. Hey, what showman doesn't like to make a grand entrance anyway, right? I mean, ta-da! Good afternoon, my brother. It's afternoon for you in Atlanta, Georgia. Morning for us here. How are you, man?
I'm well. It's still kind of morning for me because I've been up since 6.
Okay.
And yeah, so I had my interview today, and then I had some other things to do after that interview. So yeah, it's still early.
It's still early. Right on. You look good, my friend. There's that smile. I hope I've been encouraging folks, knowing that this is part 2 of what did we talk last? Was it a couple 3 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago today, was it? Yeah.
Yes.
And I just knew we needed another hour. So I've been encouraging folks to go back and listen to that first hour to get a flavor for you and all those stories that we tell, that you've been telling, and just to kind of tee up for this second part and see where this rabbit hole goes today. I had a thought, if you're willing to, if I can put you on the spot, would you give us just an opening kind of song or some sort of invocation through song so we can hear your voice this morning?
Oh, okay.
Sing whatever you want, my friend. You can sing the phone book and we lift it off the ground.
Okay, so this is a song that came to me yesterday, and it is a song that I haven't sung in a long time, but I learned it at Agape with Ricky Byers, and it says, I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, and you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much. You can love you so much, and you can start loving me.
Yes. What an equation, too. Powerful for all of us.
Yes.
Love myself, love you, and no matter where you are, because I love you so much, you're going to love me, baby. That's the way it is, right?
Yes, that's right. Contagious love.
We used to sing that song at teen camps. I mean, 30 years ago, 35 years ago.
Right. Wow.
I mean, I grew up singing that song. I love that song. Love it. Yeah, we'd sing it to each other. A bunch of teens and hundreds of teens in a room singing the song to each other. Powerful.
That's powerful. Oh God.
Yeah. Amen. What's on your front burner, man? How are you today? I know you said you've been up for a little bit. How's your heart? How are you right now, my friend?
My heart is really good. I'm just so grateful. I was just giving gratitude to just the divine presence, just being thankful for right here and right now. This is all I have, is this moment. And in this moment, I'm grateful. And that gets to, I allow that gratitude to set my day forward, going for
Yes.
everything. I'm grateful. I'm just grateful. Yeah.
And in that gratitude, like you said, it's I call it a preemptive strike of gratitude. So I preempt gratitude, and then what finds me are things that I can be grateful for, that I love and appreciate. Appreciation comes with that. Yes.
Yeah.
Give us so let's just rewind for 1 second, go back to the roots of Charles Holt, because I want to get into some of your Broadway stuff. I want to talk about that. So you were a high level athlete. You've been in show business for a long time. You've been singing for a long time. Just give us a little bit of the history of Charles Holt, wherever you want to go with that. To just get us up to speed here for a couple minutes before we get to some of the stuff that I've got notes here on.
Well, born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, I am a Southern boy, but I'm a New Yorker. Okay, so I'll go into that later. Born and raised in Nashville, had great parents. I'm fifth generation in a community that was founded by a missionary in 1868. The name of the community is called Lake Providence. And grew up wanting to be a professional football player. Started out in gymnastics, can still tumble, love tumbling. Then I went to baseball, and as of sixth grade, I became this big football player, and went to college on a football scholarship. Out of college, worked for IBM. That wasn't my dream. That was my mother's. Found out that the corporate suit did not fit me in that particular vein of corporate America. I love working for corporations. I love collaborating with them, but not going to become their employer, to be somewhat of a consultant, those types of things. And so then got really disenfranchised with the whole corporate thing, the corporate structure, and moved from Memphis, which is where I graduated college from, to Atlanta, and just thought, okay, it would be really cool to go and sing some songs that my grandmother used to teach me when I was growing up at this jazz club, because I used to listen to music with my father on the porch. He used to listen to jazz and blues, and my grandmother would not allow it in our household. It was like, if it ain't in the Bible, then we won't be singing it in my house. I said,
Only holy music.
I said, I got gospel at Granny's and the blues at home. And so I went and started singing, and this guy comes up to me one night and he says, when you sing, the room changes. I didn't know what to think about that. So I asked him, I said, is that good or bad? I mean, what do you mean? He said, no, it's where you sing from. It's the place where you sing from. Now, I didn't know. One thing that my grandmother taught me was conviction. She didn't have the greatest voice. It was out of tune most of the time. It was raspy. But when whatever she said, she meant it. She meant it. And it permeated the room. I felt it. You felt it. So he said, have you ever done musical theater? And I looked at him and I said, I'm a football player. We don't do musical theater. Just ignorant. Blinders this way, not able to see anything out here, just like this. And for some reason, I took it to heart and I said, okay, I'm going to investigate this musical theater stuff because I love music. Music got me.
So he could see something in you, and you decided to pursue that thing that you couldn't see that he saw.
Yes, absolutely. And next thing you know, I get a big break here in Atlanta. And somebody had to drop out of a show at the Alliance Theater. The Alliance Theater is the biggest house here, theater house. And it's one of the most respected in the country. And so the guy, Kenny Leon, who was the artistic director at the time, could not audition me. What he told me when he talked to me is he said, about 3 or 4 people in my cast have heard you sing at these open mics on Fridays and Saturdays, and they think that you would be a great fit for the show. I need you to say yes or no, and you better be good if you say yes. And I said yes. And during the show, I got this hit, and I bought a ticket to New York, $400 in my pocket. A month after being in New York, I got Jesus Christ Superstar with Ted Neely and Carl Anderson. I understudied Carl as Judas. I played Simon, and my career went through the roof. Moved to LA, and that's where my life changed. I grew up in New York, though. I grew up in New York. And my father, who I had really tough relationship with growing up, was the catalyst for my growing up, because my father did not champion me when I was growing up. My mother and my grandmother and my brother did, but my father would never say anything about how smart I was, because I was a straight A student and I was a great athlete, Never did. But when I got to New York, I had to find my way. And it was my father who led that journey. He didn't know that, but I had to find it. And it caused this type of reunion with him, because I loved my daddy. I loved him. He was old school, no touch, children seen and not heard. Boys don't talk a lot, boys don't cry. So he came from the old guard. I came to the planet fully self-expressed, and I think it scared him, but he scared me too. So this reunion of coming back to look at ourselves, look at each other so that we could look at ourselves and say, oh, that's who you are. This is who I am. Oh, this is good. This is really good. We got it right before my father made his transition. We got it right. And so when I moved—
Long process though, huh? Long process?
It was a long process. I called and forgave my father in January of 1997. And he did not respond, which was consistent with him. He did not say a word. And I remember getting off the phone, and I cried, and I woke up. This is funny. I woke up and I heard this band playing. So I went to my window. I was living in Harlem at the time. I went to my window and looked outside. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. There's no band outside playing. And so it's in my mind. And then all of a sudden I hear this voice say, congratulations. And I said, congratulations for what? I said, you did it. You did it. It took me a lot of courage to call my father, by the way. I said, well, he didn't say anything. He didn't respond at all. And the voice said, it wasn't for him. It was for you. So I always go back to that and understand that forgiveness is forgiveness is about self-forgiveness.
Yes.
You release the other person, but you emancipate yourself, you free yourself. And so that was one of the greatest gifts my father gave me. And when I got to LA, all the church that I had been a part of when I grew up, I left it. I left it at the door until my roommate asked me to go to Agape. I didn't know Agape. I'd heard it come out of Carl Anderson's mouth. And I said, oh, Carl Anderson used to ask me if I would fly to LA and stay at his house, and then he would take me to his church, Agape, because he loved it so much.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, I'll come. I'll be late, but I'll come.
Right.
I get there, and there's this man up on the podium, and I'm trying to find a seat because the place is packed. And I see this seat, this usher escorts me to my seat. And while I'm walking, Reverend Michael says, right where you sit or stand is exactly where you're supposed to be. Ricky, help them feel it. And she hit a chord on the piano, and it coursed through me like electricity. It lit me up like a bulb. And I got to my seat and I was so moved. I said, who is she? And this woman in front of me, she was all in meditative mode. She went, shh.
Meditative mode, baby. Yeah.
She went right back into meditative mode. I made a beeline after church. I said, look, my name's Charles Holt. I just moved here from New York City. And I said, and when you hit the chord this morning, it went right through me. And like Ricky does, she looked at me and she went, you're a singer, aren't you? I said, yes, I am. She said, mm-hmm, and moved on to the next person. Well, 3 weeks later, I'm singing, there was a time in my life. And so that song became a mantra for me because all of my life, I thought I had to do it for myself. And I did it for myself. But now it was time for me to let go of that. And that was just a song for me. And the more I sung it, the more convicted I became, like my grandmother. I said, I trust you, God. I trust you. I know you now like I've never known you before. And so this has become the staple of my life. Agape, the teachings of Agape with Reverend Michael and the music at Agape helped me to shift and transform my life. And
That out of all of that, just that idea that that your grandma, whatever you say, she say it with conviction.
Yes.
Right? There's an old FedEx commercial. There's a guy, these guys are sitting around a conference room table, and this guy has an idea. He says, why don't we, guarantee 24-hour overnight shipping? And the CEO or whoever the boss is says, okay, yeah. And then another guy says, I have an idea. Why don't we guarantee 24-hour overnight shipping? And the boss goes, that's a great idea. And the other guy goes, well, I just said that. And the guy goes, yeah, but I said it like this.
Yes.
It always makes me laugh, but it's the same idea. But I said it like this.
Yes, you get it. You get it.
Conviction.
You get it.
So you had to run on a long run on three very famous shows, right? So you mentioned Jesus Christ Superstar. What were and there may be more, but I love the story about that other show. I want to just let you tell the story about Smokey Joe's Cafe.
Oh, God. Okay, so Smokey Joe's Cafe was next.
And this is great for our folks. Our audience loves theater. Our audience loves shows and things. So, yeah.
So at the end of the run of Jesus Christ Superstar, we were in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, and we were at the Miriam Theater, and Carl Anderson calls me over and introduces me to this guy named Peter Wise. He says, Peter, you need to hear him sing. And Charles, you need to know Peter Wise. He's the casting director for Smokey Joe's Cafe. I said, oh, okay. I have that soundtrack. I love it. And so Peter says, an open invitation next month, which was February 13th, 14th, and 15th. You come in and you be my guest and you audition. I said,
Now, this is in New York or in Philadelphia?
In New York.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So the audition was then it was called the Virginia Theater. Now it's called the August Wilson Theater. So this is February in New York City. It's freezing. So about 600 descended upon the Virginia Theater. They had us packed down in the wardrobe portion of the theater. I mean, just crammed in, calling our names, say present or here, after which you need to listen for your name to be called. So we're going to stack you 24 on the stage. When you're called, you get up and sing your best 32 bars because we don't have time to listen to an entire song. So I get up and I sing a song called I Who Have Nothing from the show. And they said, thank you. So after 3 days, they whittled us down to about 24. And we finish, and I'm walking out, and the monitor says, your name's Charles Holt? I said, yes, it is. He said, they really like you. I said, okay, thank you. I didn't think anything of it. Still kind of green. I don't know how all of this works. So 45 minutes later, this woman calls me, Laura Green, Charles Holt, this is Laura Green with Richard Frankel Productions. We'd like to offer you the role in Smokey Joe's Cafe. Do you accept? And I'm stunned. So I don't respond right away. And she says, hello, are you still there? I said, yes, I'd love to do it. So I'm the only one that they cast out of 600. I go on the road with Smokey Joe's Cafe for 13 months. The last month we go to Japan, Fukuoka for a week, Okinawa for a week, Tokyo for 2 weeks. First time I've ever been out of the country. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Then came back. And then a few months later, I got cast as the first African-American Rocky in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, mind, before I moved to New York, my mother told me to get my head examined because I had passed up the job of a lifetime at IBM. She says, anybody who has those types of benefits, that type of salary, she says, and son, you're on a fast track. And she said, I want you to do me a favor before you move to New York and attempt to be a part of the most unstable job and career there is. I want you to go see a psychiatrist. So by this time, my mother is going, okay, he's been in 2 shows already. Maybe I need to give it some more thought. So I go to Europe, play Rocky, which was great. I was there for 6 months. It was, outstanding. So I'm touring the world, but I'm learning more about who I am, but it's real fast. And then I come back to New York and I get the role of Marvin Gaye in this production called Souls.com. And it was at an off-Broadway theater called La Mama Experimental Lab. Ellen, what was Ellen's last name? Ellen Stewart. She recently made her transition, but it was incredible. And during that time, I got a call from Disney to come in to do a workshop of Lion King. It wasn't something that meant you were going to get hired or even get called in for an audition. This was in 1999. And then a month after that workshop, I got called. So they said, Charles, we'd like for you to come in. We have one of the principal South Africans who does the specialty. He's going on a leave for 4 months. We need to cast for his particular role. And I go in, there's only 4 people auditioning. This scared me so badly. But I got the job. I got it. And instead of 4 months, I stayed almost 5 years.
Wow.
It changed my life. Just learning that language, 7 different South African dialects, mostly Zulu and Sotho. So you're that's in Zulu. And it was something. The story of Simba and Mufasa kind of put me in mind of me and my dad. I don't know, it just did. And how Mufasa came back even after he was dead and gave his son directives and directions, which is what my father is doing now that he is no longer here. And he told me that before he left. He said, I'll be able to travel with you everywhere I go. He said, but just know I'm there with you. So now he's giving me directions, and hey, it's all good, man. It's really good. So the stage holds a sacred place.
Let's talk about the ancestors for a minute, because you're one of the few people, at least that I talk to openly about. You are available to your ancestors' wisdom. Carl Anderson, your father, other mentors that you've had that we've talked about. Does one cultivate that? How does one, do you just need to have an open heart? Because there is so much wisdom that the ancestors can offer, I guess, even considering how they lived their life. If you don't have a direct visit or a direct voice or something, like sometimes I just think about how my grandfather lived his life, the integrity with which he lived, and some of the other things. Can you just speak to the ancestors and what that relationship is for a little bit?
Yeah, my relationship with the ancestors was cultivated when I was a real small boy and I had no idea about any of that. I used to have imaginary friends like a lot of children do. And they used to come and visit me, and they would always champion me and tell me that I was doing a good job. You're doing a good job, son. We're so proud of you, so proud of you. We love you so much. And then I would go out and create my own baseball teams. And the ancestors or my imaginary friends would be the players. And I would talk to them just like I would talk to anybody. Catch it, here he comes, knock it out of the park, man, you did a good job. Yes. So it was something that I had as a small child. And I remember when I was 7, my brother went and told my mother, Mommy, he's in the back talking to somebody. I don't know who he's talking to, but you need to go and talk to him because people are going to think he's crazy, and then they're going to think you crazy for allowing him to do that. Because they would follow me everywhere, into the department store, the grocery store, and I'd be like, okay, I'm coming. And no one would be in physical form. But I knew that they were there. I knew that. And so there was that time when I just stopped all of it because I thought it was silly. I thought it was made up, make believe and all that until I got to New York. I had an encounter with someone on the train. Someone bumped into me as they were getting off. And I took out after them. I said, I'm tired of this. I'm from the South. You bump into somebody, you say, excuse me. And I heard a voice say, wait a minute. Don't do that. Don't give them your power. The second time that voice came to me, I asked in the middle of a sidewalk, I said, who are you? And I saw this face and I called my mother and I said, Mommy, I said, you think that I make up stuff about these people, but I need to ask you if you know this person because I saw his face. I know what he looks like. She said, well, describe him. I said, he's dark skinned. He has real beautiful silver curly hair and his eyes look dark blue, but his skin is real dark brown and he has wide shoulders. And she said, that's your granddaddy. She said he thought you fell from the clouds. He passed away when I was 3 of a massive heart attack. And that's what I found out, Reverend Charles, is I wanted to know. So I asked Mommy, I said, Mommy, what happened to Grandpa? We used to call him Grandpa. She said he was 82 years old. His freedom was driving around the city of Nashville, and he was driving one day and sideswiped the bus, and they took his license and took away his freedom. And he went down to appeal, and they told him because he was 82 years old, they could not give him his license back because he was a liability on the road. Walked out of the building, dropped dead of a massive heart attack in the park.
That day. Wow.
Yes. So when he came to me, it was something about the way that he said, don't give him your power. It's all right. It's all right. Son, it's all right. Now he comes and he's the gatekeeper to the other ancestors because I'm so accessible. I hear them. I see them everywhere. Everywhere. they're speaking to us, and I'll say to us because they are very accessible, and they can be found in meditation. I find them in just different places. Something will speak to me and say, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, son. And I'll say, oh, thank you, Daddy. I know who it is right away. But when I go into meditation and mindfulness, they are there in droves. One of the most powerful guides to me right now is Dr. Lissa Sprinkles from Agape. She sits as a queen, and she's just as direct now as she was when she was here in form. I mean, the things that they say, because they have no ego, they have no reason. They just come and give us great signs, wonders, guides, markers. Oh man, it's some good stuff. And I've never really sat down and tried to coach somebody, but I've told them, you'll find them in meditation. Just ask them to show up. And listening is the greatest tool to have when you're seeking the guidance of the ancestors.
Listening. And so
Yes.
What would you, so in your experience with all of it, what would you offer our audience as a takeaway from your experience with that? And so what I'm hearing, listening, just being available in our spiritual practice as well, it doesn't sound to me like an invitation is necessary, but do you think that our audience, if there was an invitation given, hey, I'm open to receiving wisdom of my ancestors, is that something that could be practiced?
Yes, it is. Now, the first thing that that I'll say you must do is you have to be willing in your mind and in your heart to understand that they are here. We're more than flesh.
So we have to get past the idea that it's woo-woo or somehow.
Yes, that it's somehow, because my mother's mother did not agree with that at all. Did not agree with it. As a matter of fact, she shunned it. And she told my mother, anytime you have these dreams, you say you have these dreams about folks that are dead, she said, don't bring that around me. Well, hey, some of the greatest advice comes in these dreams. So people find them in the dreams, they find them in meditation, they find them in nature. The one thing that I do know is that the ancestors have all of the qualities of nature. They are there on purpose, and they are there to serve us. But mind you, they are sacred beings. Sacred. So you just, when you go before the ancestors, you honor them. Thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. And just hold it in your heart. And the thing that I will tell people is that when you do get what some people call a hit, don't go out and tell other people. That's between you and them. Just like when Spirit gives me a hit, I don't run and tell everybody. I can't. That is what I want to call that. That's between me and God.
Yeah. Well, that's sacred as well. Holding
yes,
yeah.
It is. It is. Yeah. So that's what I would tell. Just be willing to say, okay, I've been wanting to hear from my mother. She's been gone for a while. I probably will never hear her voice again. I tell you, she's ready for you to give her permission to speak to you. And she'll speak in a way and come to you in a way that you'll understand. So, oh, that's her. That's her. That's my mother. Oh my God. It just creates this, it creates a peace that is beyond understanding.
And that's what I wanted to ask, Charles. So if folks are out there listening and they're saying, well, I hear things, but I don't know if it's an ancestor or just the thought that might be out there. You know, sometimes people think they might be crazy because they hear something and they don't know where it comes from. Is it my intuition? Is it an ancestor? Is it just the BS that's floating out there in the world? Whatever it is there something about hearing from an ancestor, hearing from spirit that in which we really know that's where it's coming from? Is it more life-giving? Is it more joy-giving? Is it more a greater peace within us than just kind of the noise that could be out there in life?
Well, the soul will know, because they don't just come once, they'll come again. It's just like spirit. Spirit is always trying to cause us to win. Always. So, okay, you didn't get it that time. I just showed you. That's okay. I got another one for you. Go to the forest. Go to the tree. Look at the bark on the tree and see how it is so different from the others, because it has its own unique beauty to it. Study that for a little bit, and out of that, something will happen. Yesterday, I mentioned this to you. I was at a low point yesterday when I woke up. Something told me, call Ricky. She may be busy. Call her. I did. She didn't answer. And then she called me right back. I just needed to hear a familiar voice. I said, Ricky, thank you. She said, sometimes I just need to hear you say, hello, Charles. This is Ricky. That's all I need to hear. Now, I went to the park yesterday, and literally a hawk, which is one of my animal totems, flew this close to my ear and landed right on a branch right there. I walked right to it. It's just peering. But what it's speaking to me is that clarity is the order of the day. Because I can see, while I'm up here, I can see everything. Everything. Then a ladybug landed on my back. I didn't know it was a ladybug at first. I knew something had landed. I gently picked it up and I went, oh, you're a ladybug. Lands in my hand, opens the wings, walks through my fingers. There are no mistakes. Nature is so telling, because they're not trying to compete. Ladybugs are not trying to compete with trees. Trees don't compete with one another. Hawks don't compete with the trees. As a matter of fact, the hawk landed on the limb of a tree. So they serve one another. And they give us this great template of how to be as humans.
Yes.
Because it all works. It all works. It all works out.
It all works. That's one of the things I'm grateful I came to that insight a number of years ago in my walk, Charles, to just exactly what you're saying, that if we want to look for the purity of something, look to nature. Like if we want to see how things really work,
yes,
and we feel like we're caught up in personalities, relationships, the systems of things, go to a system that's harmonious, and that's nature, a harmonious system, and reprogram, retune, and then bring that awareness back into the busyness of life, the relationships, the personalities, those types of things.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep. Right on.
Yeah.
You mentioned, somebody asked here, are you familiar with Esther and Jerry Hicks, Abraham Hicks?
Yeah.
So how does someone was asking, how does the idea of being visited by your ancestors or having insight compared to the work that Abraham Hicks did?
Well, the thing that I know.
What would you say to that?
The thing that I know is that they have these direct downloads from this spiritual broadcast. And they've given it a name, I think. But it is nothing other than the broadcast that they have tuned into, that speaks to them, that is readily available. and that their contract with that particular broadcast or energy has given them the opportunity to share with the world. The thing that I can say about my father is all about taking the rough patches that we went through as father and son, and that being a catalyst for me going out and doing emotional literacy work with youth. He's ecstatic about that. That's his charge to me. And that relationship is my covenant with my father. My brother is all about unconditional love. Don't care what you choose, I'm gonna love you. I don't care what you look like. I don't care where you come from. I'm gonna give you as much as I possibly can. So these things, these people in our lives that have gone, it would behoove us to find the legacy of their living, to search for it, because whatever we search for in love will reveal its secrets. It shall reveal its secrets. I got that from George Washington Carver, the Peanut Man, as they call him.
The Peanut Man.
He said that when he would go to the forest and the squirrels and the birds and the things would speak to him, he would go back to his laboratory because they would give him instruction. And he said, I was able to hear them because I loved them. I loved them. And I used to tell them how much I loved them. And they responded. They responded. And that's the way it'll happen. That's the way it happens.
Speak that. And if anybody hasn't studied George Washington Carver, I absolutely, I want to hype that along with Charles here too. Please go find a book by George Washington Carver. Fascinating human being. Absolutely. That's rich. So are we all spiritual broadcasting places? Do we all broadcast, and can we all receive a broadcast?
I think we can. I think we came down here to connect. And I believe if we are all energy, which I believe we are, then energy interacts with energy. And so that's the reason why we can walk into a room and shift the tempo of the room, is because of what permeates from one individual. We can either be a sourpuss or we can be just as happy, and then walk into the room, not say a word, but the presence is so powerful and contagious, you can't help it. You know, you can't help but ask, what is that person on? I want some of that. You know, we all have that. It's just a choosing. Do I choose to be, and I can say I've been on both sides. Sourpuss, I talk about it in my next book, how I bullied this guy at Lion King, and then got convicted when I was getting ready for my next episode of bullying. Spirit spoke to me and said, that's not who you are. I said, oh. Went up to him and apologized. We're friends to today. But that was a direct admonishment. It wasn't an asking. It was apologize. You're out of alignment, Charles. Out of alignment. I went up to him and I said, man, I apologize. I know that if you don't want to accept my apology, I'm okay with it. But I can't go on like this because it's not who I am. And it was because I did not understand who I was. I saw something in him that he had. And then when we got to be friends, the first night we went out, because we went out after the show, and I told him, he said, so man, why were you so angry with me? Why didn't you like me? You didn't even know me. I said, because you possess something that I've been chasing for a long time. He said, what? I said, courage. He said, courage? You don't think you have courage? Courage is all over you, brother. Shifted everything. Again, someone singing, you know, and that whole thing of me not having courage came from a pain body.
Yeah.
It came from a pain body. I wanted my dad to give me courage.
Yeah.
It wasn't for him to do that. It was for me to get it myself. And it just so happened that this occurred so that I could ask myself, where's my courage? I want my courage.
Hmm.
I want my courage. I want to be able to be who I am courageously. Yeah.
Did it take courage for you, even after you heard that admonishment? Did it take courage for you to go up to that guy in that moment? Was it a moment of courage? Yeah. So you were granted that gift in that moment.
Yes, right. And it was humbling too. I mean, I'm still of the football mind.
Mm.
We take everything out on the field. Do we come back and say sorry that I hit you and knocked you to the side? No, we don't.
Right. Yeah.
But then I'm not that life anymore.
Mm.
That's not who I am. It's a hard thing to break when you think who you are is what you do.
Mm.
That's a hard thing to break. It was hard for me to break Mr. IBM for a while. I went around, I worked for IBM. Then when I got to Lion King, I'm Mr. Lion King. No, I'm not. I'm not who I play on stage. I'm not what I do in the office. I'm not. So then finding that is the deeper dive. And that's what happened when I went to LA. Because you cannot sing on that stage at Agape and try and be cute.
Yeah.
Spirit will eat you alive, find you out, and pull the covers out from you until you go, I'm singing, I release and I let go. Am I really? Well, then there's a conviction there. I can't see it. I can't sing this if I'm not really willing to let go.
Yeah.
I let go. I let go, God. I let you rule my life. I trust you, Spirit. Trust. Oh, my God. I wanted to trust the man, call my daddy, and he's the only pain body.
Pain body. Hmm.
Yes.
Were you aware? I'm sorry, Charles, go ahead.
No.
Were you aware in that moment with that guy on the Lion King? You mentioned earlier forgiveness and self-forgiveness. Were you aware in that moment of any forgiveness process that was taking place? Or was it, I mean, with yourself as far as being the bully to set yourself free? Or was it just, I heard the voice and I went about it? I mean, was there an awareness of a process, or was it, this is the right thing to do, I know it is, and then boom, you were free out of that?
Well, Reverend Charles, it wasn't even, this is the right thing to do. It was part of my soul mandate.
Mandate, that's the word. Yep.
That's not who you are. You've done it enough. Cut it out. It's not who you are, Charles. Go up to him and make amends. If he says, I don't care about your apology, that's okay. You did what you were supposed to do.
Got it.
It's not about him. It's about you. You come clean and stay in alignment with who you are, the integrity of who you are, Charles.
And in that is your freedom. Your freedom's not granted you by him. Your freedom's granted you by you.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. So no one can give you the freedom. And that's what I wanted my father to do. But my father set it up. It was all made. It was just all a wonderful. It didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like it because I wanted my daddy to give me everything. Assurance, the validation. And I'm still finding it because I'm still in relationships with people. And I'm still on the journey.
Yes. Yes. We're getting toward the top of the hour. These things always go by fast. Would you sing something else for us? I love to hear your voice too. It's healing. Something, just whatever. Again, something you want to share something you want to share with me, but the audience also gets to hear too.
Okay. Let's see. This is an old hymn, and my grandmother taught me this. All the hymns that I sing, Granny taught me. So it says, when peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrow like sea billows roll, whatever my lot has taught me to stay, it is well, it is well with my soul.
Mm, mm. It is well in my soul. Thank you for that, brother. Hey, a couple comments here real quick.
Yeah.
Adair says, Charles Holt, thank you for sharing from your heart and soul today. Thank you for sharing yourself and showing us how beautiful you are and your life is. Another question here. You mentioned books you have written. Can you share the names of them and where's the best place to find out more information about them?
The best place to find my books are theopenframesproject.org. theopenframesproject.org. And the Open Frames Project is my nonprofit, and it's where I do the emotional literacy and learning work from. And the name of the book is called Between Me and Dad.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That'll be a fascinating read. Yep.
Yes. Yep. So got another one coming. My third manuscript is done, and in the process of gaining finances so I can get it edited.
Love
But
it.
it's there, and I have an editor. Yeah.
Oh, good. Cool. Just got to pay that editor.
Yes.
Well, we're knowing financial good is showered upon you.
Yay. I
Yeah.
received that.
Amen.
Yeah,
Cool. Hey, I'm just going to do a couple of announcements here to wrap us up and then come back and formally say goodbye to you. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. I think maybe Jeff is probably going to put in the chat the Open Frames, or whoever, one of our producers of the show today, the openframesproject.org.
Yes.
Wonderful. Excellent. Cool. Charles Holt, ladies and gentlemen. He said good, it's there. So let's see. Tomorrow is Friday, Life on Love with me. We're going to have another fascinating show exploring some spiritual depth, an opportunity for us as a community to get to know each other better. Saturday, we've got another tailored meditation coming to you that will roll into your inboxes at 10 a.m. And then another wonderful Sunday service coming out to you first thing bright and early on Sunday morning. And I also want to remind everybody that we have our virtual prayer room that takes place at 11 a.m. via Zoom. And that link, it's at our website, and it will be with the Sunday service email that comes out to you as well. Please take this opportunity with one of our licensed practitioners. You're in a private Zoom room, and you can pray with them. They'll pray for you. Whatever's joyful in your life that you want to experience more of, whatever's heavy and might be blocking your good, let's remove those blocks in consciousness. Get with one of our powerful prayer practitioners. That's at 11 a.m. in a virtual Zoom room. All the information is on that email. And then we got another great lineup for you coming next week of guests and the Sensational Six. And we continue with Jafon in our study of how to become an anti-racist. So we're up to some good stuff. It's a beautiful thing. Charles Holt, you're a beautiful man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, Reverend Charles. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you so much for coming on for part 2, for blessing our community so brilliantly, for sharing your soul and song, and to being able to hear your ancestry through that song as well. Yes. And blessing us with your lineage and your wisdom and your insight and all those wonderful stories. I'm very grateful that you have had the experience that you've had to be sitting here with you in this moment to
Yeah.
have the beauty occur that we're experiencing right now. So thank you, my friend.
My joy. Thank you.
All right. Much love.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day, everybody. Make today the best day ever. Peace and love.
Bye.
Bye, brother.